Okay, round 2. We lose the die roll again. Our opponent does keep 6. This is a pretty reasonable hand here. We do have one interesting decision here, whether to lead with the Inventor's Apprentice or the Renegade map. Choose to go ahead and get the Inventor's Apprentice, since we can definitely turn it on, and playing a 2-3 on turn 1 is pretty strong. Go ahead and follow up. Just want to put on as much pressure as possible right now. Also want to help try and scry into an island so we can leave the Renegade map and or Torch Gauntlet available for our Quicksmiths to quickly smith and get value. So we scry that to the bottom. Our opponent scries to the top. Our opponent is America. You don't fuck with America. But we're going to try anyway. Opponent again does nothing, and we draw a land, but it's not an island. Make a mistake here. I should go ahead and attack before playing. I should probably just play the Renegade map pre-combat and not play the next land to make sure Inventor's Apprentice remains a 2-3 instead of they kill the Eager Construct through a multitude of different ways. We'll lose a point of damage. So I make that mistake. See if I get punished for it later. Go ahead and play the cards I can play. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Pima Aether Seer. And what do we do? Draw a land. So options, I can go ahead and play the Quicksmith Rebel, equip the Torch Gauntlet, kill that, get value. Or I could go ahead and crack the Renegade map, get an island, play Quicksmith. Just getting to the point where probably having the double Quicksmith makes me not want to crack these. So what do I end up doing? I think I just put the Quicksmith down, right? Yeah, just put the Quicksmith, get the value. Yeah, seems probably like the correct play. Just holding on to the map to try and get the Quicksmith have additional value. Pretty good. So the opponent does play this very solid rare. They're going to have 6 energy and be able to give it flying, vigilance, or lifelink at their choice. Also can change its power toughness as they wish. Us having the Torch Gauntlet available does mean they can't really pump the power and turn it into a 5-1 because then we could just kill it kind of on board at our leisure. And it is leisurely, not leisurely, because I'm high class. So we draw this multiform garrison, and options here, we can go ahead and crack the map and get an island. I think we want to go ahead and get the mobile garrison online before the Aether Swooper, or before we get the Quicksmith in line, so we can soulbond these two, whatever. So I go ahead and before anything, I go ahead and I equip there. I don't know if I like this. I think it would probably be better to get the Swooper online. But this does get in more damage. I think it would be more correct just to attack with the Inventor's Apprentice unequipped. No, wait, I couldn't do that. Well, I guess I could. So if I attacked with it as just a 2-3, if they choose to block, we can activate the Torch Gauntlet. Yeah, it doesn't really work. We could activate the Torch Gauntlet before damage, and they would have to pump use an energy and pump their toughness. Make it a 5-1, and then we just kind of bounce, not kill each other. It does force our opponent to use an energy, as opposed to allowing us to get a Aether Swooper on board. It's kind of close, actually. This is might be better just to get the Aether Super on board in general. It's close. So the kind of the good thing about this set is there's with energy is kind of an additional resource to manage, and there's actually a fair bit of onboard tricks you have to play around. It's an interesting spot. This is reasonable. I think it might have been better to, yeah. This is probably slightly better. So I don't want them to just be able to turn this into a 5-1 flying lifelink next turn and just swing the race hugely. So we go ahead and attack, puts them at 11. Go ahead and crack the map, get an island, get our garrison online, and pass the turn. They give them their guy lifelink, because we've already indicated we don't want to trade the rebel for the multiform wonder. It's just having this online is I mean, you don't know what their hand is, but you know, any 2 toughness creature, any whatever Pima Aether Seer or whatever, any 2 toughness creature is just kind of unplayable as long as we have this online. So go ahead and take this. Swings the race in their favor a fair bit. Follow up with a 4 toughness creature, which is pretty good. And now we've got to make it just dome him for 2. Go ahead and draw. And this is kind of an interesting point. I can try and be aggressive and just sort of try and race them. It's a little tough with this. That can get flying and lifelink. I don't have, I guess that's a flying blocker. So I go ahead and I decide to try and start playing for the long game and play the Quicksmith Spy and just go ahead and draw a card right now. Try and hit a blue source. Do hit a blue source. And I decided to pass with and leave up the Aether Thief, which is probably not the great idea. I probably should have just played the Aether Swooper. A, to get a flying blocker available for this, so we can just go ahead and, if they give it flying, we can block and deal 2 damage to it. And it makes it really hard for them to try and, you know, race in the air with this. Also, it puts 2 energy on the board, so that way if we can just, whatever, if we just want to jump with the Aether Thief or something, we can just flash that in and block, and then we'd have 3 energy, and then we can draw another card because, you know, we love drawing cards with this deck. So, probably should play the super. I go ahead and pass. They give this flying again. They attack here. I go ahead and decide to. They use the energy. Use 2 energy there. I just choose to block, and then we can use after combat. Put 2 damage on this after it's already at 4 damage and kill it. Which seems better. Don't want to, you know, if they have a combat trick here, I mean, it will save their guy post-combat, but we don't want them to, you know, trample over for 6 instead of 3 or something. So we do that. Also, don't feel like, you know, putting our New York Quicksmiths in the line of fire when they are giving us all this wonderful value all the time. And let's just kind of see what kind of follow-up our opponent has. Opponent plays a Winding Constrictor. I choose to activate the Torch Gauntlet at that point, in case I had something that would give the Tiger a +1/+1 counter. I didn't want them to get 2 +1/+1 counters from the Constrictor. So we do that. And then our opponent plays an Untethered Express, which can give the Winding Constrictor can crew it, and then it attacks and it turns into it gets 2 +1/+1 counters and becomes a 6/6, which is pretty good. Pretty good. We go ahead and just want to use our mana and get the Aether Thief online. So here, draw, and no point attacking into the Untethered Express with any of this stuff. I think we're just probably going to have to run a gang block on that Untethered Express pretty soon. So go ahead and just play and crack the Implement of Examination. Draw more cards. See what happens here. Draw into a land. So I think I just choose to be mana efficient and play the Watchful Automaton. It's a reasonable, just another body to put in front of the Untethered Express. We're probably just going to crew the Mobile Garrison, block with the Quicksmith Spy and whatnot. So I feel like we're going to have to put the Garrison. Just need to be able to play through a removal spell or whatnot. Or a combat trick potentially. Just want to get a bunch of power and toughness in front of that. Because we also have the Torch Gauntlet available to do 2 damage as needed. So our opponent goes ahead and winds up the Untethered Express. Gives their this guy flying, come in and attack. With the counter, we activate the Garrison using the Quicksmith Rebel, and then put Spy Automaton this thing. So if they have, we're putting 7 power in front of it. So even if they can give their guy +3 +3 toughness with the Torch Gauntlet, we can still finish them off. If they have 1 removal spell, we're still going to have at least 4 power on it, and then this. So they need to have either like a really big combat trick or something, or 2 cards in hand to be able to do this. So I think this is the correct play in this situation. They order blockers to kill the Garrison and the Automaton. Seems reasonable. And they give their guy lifelink. We draw a card, draw another Quicksmith Rebel, or Quicksmith Spy, and opponent follows up with a 2/3 Menace, which is somewhat problematic. Our life total is suddenly come under duress, thanks partially to the Tramplers, mostly to, oops, didn't know this was a menu. Interesting. I can look at my sideboard. That's cool. Mostly due to this guy gaining life and flying in for 3 damage per turn. Alright, and so we do this, and what do I choose to do? At this point, this is a tricky spot. I think it's correct to just run out the Quicksmith Spy and attach it to the Torch Gauntlet, and the Torch Gauntlet is now, like, has all the options. Play the Aether Swooper and go ahead and equip the Torch Gauntlet to something. I think I can probably go ahead and equip the Torch Gauntlet to the Quicksmith Spy and attack with the Quicksmith Spy. Let's see what I do. I choose to just attack with the Quicksmith Spy. That's reasonable. Probably not ideal. So I run at that, run at that. Okay. I guess I'm still being a little greedy to just want to get up the Quicksmith Spy, just because we're not being given opportunities necessarily to use this except as a shock to our opponent's face, and I'd rather just draw a card in that situation than shock our opponent. And yeah, I'm just kind of wasting a fair bit of mana here. Let's see. Opponent plays a 3/3, gets 3 energy off of it because of the Winding Constrictor, and does not attack because we have the Aether Swooper back. And just shock them. And now I choose, yeah, now I can go ahead. That's not a good play. I need the Aether Swooper back to block the Multiform Wonder. I mean, I can get relatively aggressive here, but I think if I just put on the Quicksmith Spy attack, that puts them in a tricky situation. They can double block, and then we can kill like a Winding Constrictor or an Alley Strangler with this, which is fine. When we do that and attack, I guess I really wanted a servo. I can see wanting a servo for the Quicksmith Spy. great thing about this game is, yeah, and then I just go ahead and choose to put on the Torch Gauntlet anyway, because being able to draw a extra card this turn is probably better. So let's and this thing goes ahead, hits us again, puts us at an awkward life total, and bumps their life total up. Do draw a card, which is, well, Fast Monitor is a fine dude. So we go ahead and run out the Crane first, see what we want to do. And we see 3 land and reverse engineer. So we can just whiff on the Crane again. How unlucky. 7. What do we have? If we had 7. Let me do the quick bit of math. I think we had, so say we had either 7 or 8. Let's say we had 7 artifacts out of 40 cards. That's roughly 17%. The odds of roughly the odds of missing that 4 times in a row is 46%. So we're like 54%ish, probably slightly higher to hit an artifact off of this Glutinous Crane in general. Which, I mean, as a 1/3 flyer, if it gets a card that cycles half the time, that's a pretty damn good card. Alright. So I choose now to go ahead and equip. No, I don't do that. I play the Weldfast Monitor, and then I decide, oh, I can go ahead and get in with the Quicksmith Spy here. And then, or you just go ahead and trade the 3/3 with it. Which, I don't know if that's worth necessarily more than the Winding Constrictor Alley Strangler. It's close. They lose a point of power. And then they play Implement of Ferocity, which is very good. It's going to get 2 counters with the Winding Constrictor and just draw them a card deeper. All this for just 2 mana. And they played a Renegade map. And I think they made a mistake. They played out an extra force right there. They could have just held it, because this attack, after we chump, you do have to start chumping now, which is very annoying. Is this attack actually leaves them dead on board? You can just attack with everybody. 2 activations of the Torch Gauntlet puts them at 8, and then they only have 2 blockers. We can equip the Glutinous Crane with the Torch Gauntlet that they can't block at all. That puts them down to 5, and then they cannot block out of their main situation. I had to run the math on this a number of times. It's somewhat involved. Ravenous Intruder can do factors into it, I believe. And then I didn't trust my math enough. I went ahead and played the Spark of Creativity on the Winding Constrictor. Did not need to do that. Did not need to show them this. A mistake, but showing them the Spark of Creativity is a very small mistake. And if I had had the math wrong, even after doing it 3 times, that would have been a huge mistake. So, not really a problem to do this that way. And yep, our opponent's dead. For sideboarding, let's go ahead and we can view our sideboard. We can't see our main deck here, but I fooled around with adding a negate or dispersal technician. Nothing else was super impressive. Could have added destructive tampering to kill either Multiform Wonder or Untethered Express, but chose to just run it back. Yep, I just ran it back. Deck's perfect, never lose. So, go to game 2. Opponent plays first. No mulligans. This hand is fine. It's nothing special. It's fine. Implement of Ferocity, by the way, is really good. Really good for limited. So we just go ahead and run out our Eager Construct. And this is essentially, even though it's nice to have an artifact on board for Quicksmith Spy, It's also kind of another land, so we just shift that to the bottom. Opponent is on mono forests, which is pretty good for us. And we are flooding out a fair bit here. Don't have any plays, neither does our opponent, so that's fine. And I just choose to go ahead, run out the Quicksmith Spy, attach there, and I want to start drawing as many cards as often as possible. Opponent's still stuck on forest, but they do hit their fourth play. With the Untethered Express, we go ahead and draw a card. Again, we're drawing on end step just to play around Harsh Sustenance, or whatever it is. Harsh Scrutiny? Yeah, Harsh Scrutiny. Which is maybe not the best play. So here, again, we're kind of flooding here. Choose to go ahead and just draw a card. Yeah, just draw a card. Get another reactive spell. Can attack for 2, because we can't really block the Untethered Express at all. And I choose to just go ahead and reverse engineer, and then if we have to that's going to get us up to 9 cards in hand. If we discard a couple lands, that's probably fine. So the alternative play is just to play like Torch Gauntlet, which is definitely not super appetizing. Only uses up 2 of our mana. So I'm fine going ahead and discarding. Potentially I could have just played Reverse Engineer and then just attacked with Eager Construct and then gotten in 2 more damage and not had to discard a card. But I don't think my sequencing was that bad. If this Eyes Over had been any reasonable creature or artifact we could play, that obviously would have been a fair bit better. So we draw that, and we go ahead and discard, I guess, 2 islands. Yep, discard 2 islands. Now they have something they can go ahead and try to attack us. This is reasonable. They can't really win a long game if we're drawing 2 cards a turn. So them getting aggressive is probably correct. We've got a fair bit of life total to work with. And we draw a Watchful Automaton. So options here are we can like play Torch Gauntlet and Quicksmith Spy, and then we're drawing 3 cards a turn. It's a little bit greedy. Greed, for lack of a better word, is greedy. So I think I choose to just ice over the Untethered Express, which is going to force this game to go longer. Probably actually just go ahead and start by drawing an extra card. See if I can do that. Yes, I do start by drawing an extra card. So now, go ahead, we play out a land, and we'll have 6 mana, so we want to ice over, and then either Shipwreck Moray, probably just go ahead and play out Inventor's Apprentice, and one of these 3 drops, I guess the Weldfast Monitor seems a little bit better, can trade with the Aether Herder, potentially. So let's see what happens here. Yep, do that. And we decided to play at the Moray. It's whatever. This is a reasonable play. It also blocks Aether Herder. You can trade with the Aether Herder as necessary. It could also potentially attack for 4 damage, which is reasonable. The argument for this is then you have the Inventor's Apprentice. And it looks like we've got 2 3-drops and a 4-drop and a 2-drop. So this means next turn we can play out the Inventor's Apprentice plus whatever 6 mana worth of stuff. We are still also drawing 2 cards a turn. This is, I don't know. It's subjective. Let's just call it that. Subjective. Opponent plays an Aether Seer and just passes. I think they're probably better served to just get a card deeper in their library and make this a 4/4. It seems like it would be better, although the 4/4 then just kind of trades with this as a 4/1. So But I think they just need to get. They need to start. I'm assuming they've got 3, 4 black cards in their hand they want to unlock, and or 5 and 6 mana spells. So just getting a card deeper as soon as possible to hit those land drops seems like it'd probably be better for America. So go ahead, tap. And I think again I just want to start by drawing a card. Now I go ahead and combat and attack with the Shipwreck Moray. It's reasonable. I mean, they either have to block with the Aether Herder, or block and force me to use 2 energy to trade, or I could just do nothing and stalemate. They can't block with the Aether Seer in any profitable way. Block there. I choose to trade. I'm drawing extra cards. I've got more cards in hand. Trades as often as possible seem good to me. Also, not potentially allowing them to unlock getting some 1/1 servos seems good to me. So I still think I should probably just draw a card here. The alternative is play Quicksmith Revolt, Torch Collet, and Commander's Apprentice. I think drawing a card here and seeing if I can do any better is probably better, but this is... Oh, I do this. But I want to draw cards. This is the aggressive line, which our opponents... I don't think that's a great line, given that the opponent can just turn this into a 4/3, which is not... It does not really allow our 2 3s and 2 2s to attack in very well. But whatever. We're using our mana, but we're not drawing cards. I want to draw cards. We draw another land, but it's still a mono forest. Draw more cards. Please, I don't forget to activate this on instep. Nope, I got that in the Quicksmith Rebel. It's a little too late now. This is a 4/3. I feel like I should start by drawing a card. Let's see if I do that, or whether I can just go ahead and... Looks like I have a spare mana. I can just probably activate the Weldfast Monitor. Or I could just attack and say, if you want to trade, that's fine. If you want to blow a combat trick, that's fine. Probably want to go ahead and get the Quicksmith Spy, Torch Gauntlet. Just draw more cards. More cards. Yeah, so I choose to do that. And just do that. Still think I should be drawing more cards, just to see if we have alternative better plays. But these are certainly fine plays. And then they do this, which again is pretty awkward. Don't have super great ways to punch through that, but we can draw a bunch of cards. Right now, so on our draw step, we've gone through 25 cards in our deck, and their opponent's only gone through 16. So we're up 9 cards. We had discard 2 islands, whatever. Draw some more stuff. So still don't really have a sizable board advantage or great attacks in general. I think I can just go ahead and make Weldfast Monitor menacing and then attack and force the trade there to unlock potentially future attacks. Let's see. That's how I start. Our opponent, like, I could try and equip the Torch Gauntlet to force this, but I'd rather just have more mana available. Get the Quicksmith Rebel and Skyship Plunderer out, I guess. Let's go with the Swooper. That equip. I don't know. I'm up so many cards. I'm just spraying stuff out there. Puts a lot of flyers on board. Fatal pushes the Aether Swooper, which is fine. They attack, because, I mean, it's a... They're pretty dead, so there's not much point in, you know, at least if you get me to 10, you can say you're halfway to victory. Clearly. One, half one. Now we just jam with everything, and they're dead. So that was round 2. That deck's drawing a lot of cards and playing out a lot of dudes, and that works. So let's see what happens in round 3.